Hello and happy Monday. We're back at you. Thanksgiving week. Oh my God. If everybody's ready for turkey, they're ready for this week. So Rob Morales, RCO Network here in Studio 110, Phoenix, Arizona. RCO Network bringing you Monday Market 15, the 15-minute show that takes about 30 minutes. Please welcome the most bodacious, the bodily, the co-host, Miss Ashley Miller. Yeah. There, she's back. Get a new title under your name there. Look at that. That's your Ashley Miller, Great American Title.
I have such a title in my name.
Oh, you know what? You don't even have your microphone in. We started the show, and you probably can't hear Ashley. So, you know, those are those little things that. There.
That's what I've been missing my whole life.
Yeah, we went live without having. We call it studio faux pas.
So I am here,
There you
and I do have a new title in my name. It's called Ashley Miller, Great American Title.
She is great and American and full of title. But anyway, we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about the market, the Phoenix housing, things that people want to hear, people that want to know.
What do they want to know?
Oh, well. Hey, so I got some good news, right? I feel there's a shift in this market. There's a shift in the force, Luke. And I believe buyers are starting to creep back a little bit. I mean, this weekend, you know, I was working with a couple. Been working with them for about 9 months, right? The first 6 months of this year were just hectic. Went looking at listings everywhere. Went from Maricopa down to Santan, down to Florence even, and we were just getting outbid, going back and forth. And this weekend, you know, first weekend back, you know, they took about a 3-month spree off. They're like, hey, we're just going to take a break. They paid down some stuff and they got their, you know, saved a little bit more money. And then very first weekend we went out, boom, contract.
High five.
Look at that.
I want to bring up something, and because I read this earlier today.
Oh boy.
So a lot of people make a statement about what real estate agents make. That your guys' job is so easy and you make 3%, and nowadays you guys are making a little bit less. I mean, I think I read the average is 2.66.
Yeah.
But you just told me that you spent 9 months.
Correct.
With these clients.
With no guarantee of making any money.
No guarantee.
Correct.
So I want to tout you right now for your dedication and allow everyone out there know that, yes, real estate agents do make great money. There's no doubt about it.
I will say it has paid a lot of things, and it's paved a good way for me.
But there are the moments behind the scenes where you do spend 9 months. So if you take that dollar amount and you divide it, it's actually equivalent to
a regular job.
Not to mention the hours in the morning, the hours at night, like all the other things that come in and come into play with it, plus the continuing education. I'm just telling you right now because 9 months in what I read, 2.66, 9 months divided on the average home price in Arizona, which is $350. You guys are committed.
We try to be. I mean, there are people that try to make it in this business and they don't, just because of that. You know, it's hard to get into. And then the challenge too is to maintain, you know, a good set of business. And, you know, for anybody out there that's willing to be stressed, I mean, if you're stressed about having a boss, imagine being stressed about not making a paycheck next month.
And being your own boss. Because totally responsible.
I will tell you, I didn't have any transactions for November. You know, unless I get a cash buyer like tomorrow wants to close by the end of the month, I made $0 in November. I had a good October, and I'm going to have a great December, but $0 in November. And so those are the roller coasters you got to get over. But I mean, the good news of the day, again, I had this feeling that markets are shifting a little bit, you know, and not in every market. I wouldn't say, you know, the Phoenix market is seeing this, but you see some of these outlying cities, like the contract that we got was in Maricopa. You know, and going out there and again, I will let you know, this house was about $355 and they lowered the price about $25,000.
That's impressive.
And then when we got into contract, I was in communication with that agent for a while, back and forth, and there were some pressure points where I took the opportunity to take. You know, I didn't have any time Saturday to take out my clients out to go see houses, but I said, shit, I'm going to make it out there because there's an opportunity. You know, I had other things planned, honestly, and I said, you know, it's been too long for them, and they're available, and we need to jump on this opportunity. So we jumped on it, made our offer, got it signed Sunday afternoon, you know, because we put some pressure on the seller, and we were able to get $5,000 towards closing costs. Okay. And we got a home warranty on top of it. And that market, that was crazy about 6 months ago. There was just none of that. There was like, you better offer 10, 15,000 over. You better like not ask for anything. You better offer a conventional loan, And we got in a situation where they got an offer, And so things are shifting a bit. And again, it's more in those outlying areas, but still, I mean, it's some good news kind of heading that way for buyers. Sellers, on the other hand, be very cautious. If you're ready to sell, if you're on the cusp of selling, this might be that kind of turning point, especially more in the closer metro areas like Phoenix, Chandler, Peoria, all the ones that are closer to the Phoenix proximity.
In the valley, like in the actual valley.
So good news.
Selling is definitely still on the radar.
Yeah.
I think if that is your trajectory and that's what you want to do is sell, absolutely do it right now, because mid-January of 2022, things are going to change.
Are you talking about the interest rates, Miss?
Maybe.
Could be.
So, and we don't have a lender on here, but interest rates are projected to increase to 3.6%.
Yeah.
Which is it's relative, because if the housing market goes down slightly, but interest rates go up, we're still going to have the same payment.
Yeah.
It'll give the sellers an opportunity to sell a house at what I would call fair market value.
Yeah.
And buyers to buy a house at, 3.6% is still really freaking low.
Yeah.
Like, we can't complain about that.
Yeah. And if you follow, politics, if you follow financial services, Jerome Powell got reelected, or Biden elected him as to continue to be the Fed chair for a little bit longer. I don't know what the term is or how long. I think it's a 2-year term. Correct me if I'm wrong. But he was nominated today, so I think that nomination will move forward, and he'll continue to be our Fed chair for a little bit. And with that, the intent with market rates, or the Fed rate, is going to be, they anticipate it going up. He made that announcement in October. The Fed rate should be going up about 0.25% mid next year. But that doesn't necessarily mean market rates aren't going up. Market rates went up a little bit in October, November, and people are a little scared. Hey, the markets are going up again, the interest rates. But they've kind of simmered down a little bit. So you can still try to find, I'm looking at the rates still out there just under 3, but majority of them are around 3%. And as we get into predictions later on in the show, you'll see that there's a prediction that interest rates could go up to 3.6. What does that mean for buyers? Well, they're paying more interest rates.
Buy now. I anticipate, in my opinion, so I want to refinance my house. I want to put my first and my second together and refinance, because right now inflation is high. My house is worth more money than I could even fathom. Yeah. But I got to do it before January and lock it in, because I'm nervous that in January it's going to go up.
Yeah. Well, that's normal market cycle. So who knows? I mean, everything just kind of got thrown up in the air 2021.
I think this is a great time to buy. Holidays are a perfect time to buy.
Well, I would say for my clients this weekend, yes.
No, it is. It's because we're all in this space where we're prepping for Thanksgiving. We're prepping for Christmas. We're putting up our Christmas tree, and houses look beautiful. And there's not a lot of people take their homes off the market, or they pause them. This is a great time to come in and purchase them.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get into predictions towards the end of the show, but that does highlight a little bit into what we were talking about earlier, especially last week when it comes to iBuyers and those programs. I know you didn't want to mention that a little bit. We got a lot of reports this weekend, and I was shooting Ashley a bunch of stuff that I was coming across this weekend, and just it was so much of it I didn't know where to start or where to go. But you did want to talk about the iBuyers and renters, right?
What I'm noticing right now, we all know about Zillow. They're releasing about approximately 7,000 homes. Okay, let's move past Zillow. But these big hedge funds, right? They're coming in and they're buying up these neighborhoods. And what's happening is they're buying up these neighborhoods and they're leaving them vacant. And they're sitting there, the homes are sitting there. I have noticed, based on my research, that a lot of these hedge funds are coming in and now they're selling to the iBuyers. Yeah. That's one perspective of it. But also that hedge funds are starting to rent out the homes. So one thing is the hedge funds are coming in. They own all these homes. They're dominating a neighborhood. So have you ever been walk through your neighborhood and you're like, that's vacant, that's vacant, that's vacant? They don't need to do anything with it, right?
Yeah.
So now these iBuyers are coming in, and they're not, in my opinion, from what I've read and what I'm seeing, they're not overpriced purchasing them. But the iBuyers are buying them, but they're turning around and they're renting them to consumers.
Yeah.
At actually what I would think is kind of a decent price, because as you know, rentals, which would be, let's call it like a Mark Taylor or like these major rental companies. That's up 7%. But I feel like the hedge funds are buying them, selling them to the iBuyers at a reasonable price. And the iBuyers are now have this large amount of inventory, and they're allowing, they're going to start renting them out because either they've overbought in the past or they're buying to keep the inventory, put renters in them, and then putting them on this projection or purchase them in the future.
I do see two types of investors: the ones that are holding onto a home for about 3 to 6 months in order to flip it because of the prices, the appreciation in just a short amount of time. So that's one person. If they're vacant, they're probably vacant for a reason. FHA, you can't sell FHA for at least 90 days, so you can't resell. And that's a majority of the market out there. Right now, actually, I take that back because that was the majority of the market about a year ago. Now it's more kind of conventional. I mean, the price of the houses don't really, with the FHA limits, sometimes I think there are some restrictions there, but as in terms of investors, you have the one that's holding on for just a couple months and going to flip it at an appraised rate. And then now you're starting to see these investors who are like, holy crap, the rental rates are higher. They're roughly, about almost 20% year over year. I can rent this out for a year, let it pay for it, and then sell it at the end of the year with the hope that in appreciation at the end of that year will be another 10, 20%, which I think is going away, by the way.
And I'm very intrigued about, we always hear about these lease to own, lease to own, lease to own. And it's very interesting to me. So lease to own, so now we have the hedge funds buying it. Hedge funds are selling to iBuyers. iBuyers are holding on to it because they, the circumstances. Then they're renting it out to renters under the circumstance that they can purchase it in the future at different increments. So like year 1, you can purchase at this price. Year 2, you can but those prices are set in stone. And that's great. Yeah. As long as they improve their credit or they show that they're financially stable there's so many factors that go into it. But they're creating a way, and I'm not against this. Some people are really, really against this. I'm not against them purchasing these homes and allowing people to rent them with the potential of buying them. It is a way for how do I say this without sounding so like one-sided? I think it is a great way for renters to learn about owning a home versus coming from an apartment, and then getting a choice at the end of the first 12 months to purchase it or not.
Yeah, I know of those programs. I've seen them in the past. I knew of those programs when it was a little bit more of a buyer's market. They would offer these programs to stay in there, help people with their credit, and then sell it to them eventually. I haven't seen those in a while, but if they're starting to come back again, that's an indication where buyers are starting to shift towards that. I don't necessarily see a buyer's market anytime soon, but if that's kind of the preparation and anticipation that these investors are doing, why not? As far as I know, like we were talking about before the show, investors are out to make money. So if they're doing these programs, they're probably doing it at a really high rate. Or an exaggerated rate for rent, and that post I just put up there. You can see if you're an investor and you just purchased a home in Phoenix, you're looking at a rent inflation of almost 20% year over year. So does it make sense for those investors who we're talking about who are holding on to houses and saying, you know what, I'm probably going to make a good amount of money, 20% more in just renting to somebody versus just holding on to it and flipping it? I'm going to park my money aside because I feel inflation is out of control. I have no other asset to park my money into. It's not crypto. Crypto's a little kind of weird right now. It's not gold. Gold is very stagnant too. So I'm going to put my money into real estate and really kind of make it work for me. That's the one thing about investors that I'm kind of looking at.
In my opinion, the difference between an investor versus like a hedge fund and these iBuyers is they are not flipping houses. They're buying them and they're holding them and they're using them as a tax write-off. At the end of the day.
If you're an investor out there, if you'd like to provide us some information, regarding your investment decisions, please drop those in the comment section below, and we'll get to those as we go along. Is that good? Is that good?
So
All
good.
Right, take that
so good. So good.
Again, if you have any comments or questions, go ahead and put those in there. But
and a purple heart.
If you like Ashley and you want to give her a purple heart, go ahead and send that in the ether and then send it our way. So we appreciate the purple hearts. Well, whatever. Ethernet. Right? Internet? Either way.
Intranet. No, but it's very interesting because you sent me that over the weekend about the inflation. And we have to come up with a solution. I almost said something really bad that came out of my mouth. I stopped myself.
There's always something bad coming out of your mouth.
No. I was driving down Thomas, and I think it was at like 40th Street in Thomas or something. And my vehicle is a diesel.
Oh, yeah?
And the diesel gas prices are like $4 and freaking 59 cents or something, just astronomical.
Yeah.
Well, where I live in North Phoenix, they're like, $3 and like 99 cents. I'm like, oh my God, for F's sakes. All I did was drive across like the freeway down the street, and it skyrocketed. I'm like, inflation is so finicky because there's different pockets that come and go. And this is what I like about you is with your knowledge, you're able to say and have these conversations with your clients. Like, where are you financially? Where do you really want to be? Is it because of kids' school? Is it because of their job? In my opinion, if it's just their job, and they might have to drive another extra 15 miles, and they have a regular vehicle, not like a diesel, which really sucks because diesel used to be lower than regular gas, but it's not anymore. But just kind of understanding where they are in the valley and where you guys want to be in the valley. Maricopa is a different world than North Phoenix or Desert Ridge or Gilbert.
Yeah, it's good to have an idea of what you want to do short term and long term. Yeah. A home in and of itself is an investment, regardless of how you feel about it. If you're looking for a place just to live, it's still an investment. It depends on what you want to do. Again, short term, medium term, and long term too.
I love what you said though, where you're just looking for a place to live, because how many times do we just rent a place because you're just looking for a place to live? How many people have done that? I'm just looking for a place to live. Oh, it's only an extra $300, $400, $500, whatever it may be. But when you do the math, 100% investment in somebody else is still 100% investment in somebody else.
Yeah.
So maybe you do step outside of like your convenience and buy or purchase in an area that might be less convenient, but that's 100% investment in yourself.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah, it's totally personal. It's totally individual as far as like where you're going, where you're at, and how comfortable you are, and that plays into, and not a topic for today, but it plays into kind of our unemployment numbers, where people are not going back to work because they want to be able to work from home. And if they bought a house way out in Buckeye, if they bought a house way out in Maricopa, they don't necessarily want to commute. They want a job or position that, and again, this is my assumption. There's different numbers that support different things, but there's people out there that want to work from home. They don't want to make those hour-long commutes. Do you remember that? Do you remember getting in traffic? Today was cool and brisk, right? It's like 25 minutes to work today. But, in the past, it'd be like 45 to an hour, and you're like, I don't. And you would like kick yourself all the time. Like, why am I doing this to myself?
Oh, I remember.
It'd be like, 2 hours out of your day just wasted in traffic. And now it's a lot quicker, but then it's like, well, why am I doing it? Why am I wasting my life and my time?
Well, time is money. I had that discussion earlier today. Time is
location
100%
has lots to do.
money. It is location, but if you do have the luxury of working from home, you literally could move anywhere you want, like Columbus, Ohio. Yeah.
So I'm going to actually get into those. I'm going to show one more thing before we get into that. The last 10 minutes of the show, I wanted to go over kind of predictions for 2022, because I think that's what people are waiting for. Here we're looking at investor market surpasses. So again, this just provides like information that there are a lot of investors out there that are purchasing homes and they're renting them to you. If you're in a renting right now, you probably have somebody, you're probably overpaying for one if you just renewed your lease in the last 6 months. And I see that continuing on into till next year for some time. The rental rates aren't going to decrease. Not, we had a housing boom, and I think that really took a high point between October and November this year. I think we're kind of at the peak. Prices will go up a little bit, but not an extraordinary amount, and only because of supply and seasonality. But we're pretty much at the peak. And so rental rates have a trailing effect about 6 months. So if we're at the peak now, you'll continue to see rental rates continue to go up for another 6 months, until middle of next year.
And that's super frustrating. Yeah. Very frustrating.
So just a couple quick things before we get into predictions. The housing supply right now, when you hear people talking, let me get my face out of that. When you hear people talking and getting excited about like it becoming a buyer's market or a crash, the supply is still the biggest thing right now. Supply, when you look at some recent YouTube videos, supply is going up. We went up to a 6.5 month supply in August. This was right after the summer, but then look at where we're at right now. September, at the end of September, we're at a 5.7. So we're on a downslope.
It just blows my mind
nationally.
Of all these like foreclosure, forbearances, foreclosure, and then Zillow's dropping 7,000 houses. But facts are facts, my friends. Facts are facts.
Yeah. So I'm going to go over a couple quick, then we'll get into predictions. So housing demand is still at that high peak. Demand is still high. Supply is still low. That is something, again, that we're in Phoenix. That's what we're facing. You may hear about other areas about how supply is increasing. But in Phoenix, right here, right now, we're still in a high demand, still low supply environment. So you're going to continue to see some competition. I believe this is more in the Phoenix market, more in the metro areas. In the outskirts, if you want to go to Globe, I don't think it's as competitive. And in Maricopa, like this weekend, not as competitive. We got a contract right away. We're in contract, and my clients are just like ecstatic. So I
love that when you're talking about your clients being ecstatic, because one of the things that I was reading, like people are getting so nervous, and it's like, will I ever own anything? Like it's becoming depressing. Like, okay, some people are, almost 40 years old and they've never owned a home, and I want to say, do not put yourself in that space of like depression or sadness. Like this is a wonky market. And when you've got somebody chirping in your ear, somebody chirping in your ear, we had a weird election, politics. Oh, there's so many things involved. I just want to say, please do not get down on yourself for feeling you may not have made the right decision at that time, because my belief is the universe in itself will deliver to you exactly what you need. It's divine timing. You'll get what you need when you need it. We're just here to share and educate you to, excuse me, maybe, I don't know why my voice does this.
Getting emotional.
No, I'm going to cry now. To encourage you, to give you the knowledge to make an educated decision. And that's what we always talk about, helping you make an educated decision. So I don't want anybody to ever feel that based upon the information we're delivering, that they're not making the right decision at that time, because the right decision will come when it's the right decision. Yeah,
having somebody as a support network, somebody in that circle, not just your family, but somebody that's educated and is in tune with this market, that's going to benefit you. You getting as much information as possible, especially buying a house, especially kind of investing. You need as much information as possible to make your decision. And when somebody is interested in themselves and not interested in you, that's not the best situation for you and your family.
This is not a therapy session.
Yes. My shoulder is available, but today is not the day, miss. All right,
let's see it.
Predictions. So this Redfin article came out today regarding predictions in the housing market in 2022. We picked out a few. I have a couple that I like and some that are just kind of out there. We'll take commentary on each one of them if you guys want to comment or question or anything. Or Ashley just asked me whatever she wants. She kind of does that. Yeah, she talks a lot. So prediction number 1, mortgage rates will increase 3.6, bring down the price growth down to earth. So yes, I think as far as predictions go, interest rates have to go up. There's just no way you can't keep this low interest rate environment forever. It's just long story short, we can't maintain this as a culture, as the United States. We cannot. We need more money into paying off ourselves. We can't be doing stimulus and you can't be doing all this free money for nothing. You got to pay it back somehow. They're going to either they're either going to tax you or they're going to increase your rates.
They're going to get you no matter what. It's a double-edged sword.
Yeah, so that's why Ms. Miller is wanting to refi early next year.
I am.
So if it's a top of mind, please talk to your lender. Please call us. Please reach out, and we'll talk about
definitely refinancing.
Yes.
For sure.
Prediction number 2. We got new listings will hit a 10-year high. So they're predicting that more listings are going to come. So essentially what I gather, without saying it in so many words, they're going to say there's going to be a CRASH.
No, there's not going to be.
I honestly, maybe in certain markets, I don't know in Phoenix. I believe we're going to be sustained as far as pricing goes. Everything that we're seeing, I do think we'll be more competitive when it comes to buyers. Like this weekend, there's an opportunity, but as far as like competition, it'll be more competitive. If you're a buyer going out there, I believe you'll be able to come across a house. Will it be really high? Yeah, the price probably be a little bit more than what you wanted to pay, but I do believe there's a little bit more availability in the Phoenix area.
There's going to be more available, just like I was saying before with the foreclosures and with Zillow releasing all those homes.
Yeah.
However, there's not going to be a crash. There was something that I wanted to say, but I can't remember. Talking about not being a crash, being sustainable. Whether we stay the same,
No.
we slightly decrease or slightly increase, the trajectory is just slowly going to go up, as it always has.
Yeah, and again, this is Phoenix compared to the rest of the nation. You know, these are just predictions based on what we know of the Phoenix market and the surrounding areas, not national. This is Redfin's national predictions.
But we were talking about earlier, climate. People are moving for climate.
Hold on, we're getting there.
We haven't gone there yet. Sorry.
We're getting there.
Sometimes I'm ahead of myself.
So in the conversation we had today, rents will increase by 7%. I believe that's going to continue on because, again, rental rates have about a 6-month trailing effect towards from housing prices. So right now we're at the peak of housing, I believe. You know, will it go up a little bit more? Possibly due to seasonality and short supply still into January. If you believe that there's going to be a lot more listings, sure.
So it says since vacancy rates are already at record low.
Yeah.
So they say
Low
that
supply.
1 out of 5 homes that are purchased are vacant. 1 out of 5 homes are vacant if people purchase.
Yeah.
It's mind blowing.
Yeah, there's.
Why are they sitting there? This goes back to the hedge fund conversation.
Yeah. But rental will. I can't speak today. Rental rates will go up. I mean, that's just something to kind of anticipate. You know, if you're in a rental situation, you're coming up to about 6 months in your lease. Really consider talking to a lender. Really reaching out, and maybe we can put you in front of somebody that will help support you. We have a couple lenders on hand. I know Ashley does. I do too.
I'm just thinking about all these houses that are just sitting vacant.
Yeah.
It's like frustrates me so bad. Like there's so much opportunity out there, and we have to be patient. We have to be consistent, and we have to be patient, and we have to be consistent, persistent, and patient. I should coin that.
You should hashtag that.
Hashtag
So
that.
this is just a chart that kind of shows that as home prices go up, you see a trailing effect to rents, and you can kind of see here that rents are kind of following or lagging behind home prices, and you see home prices kind of bellowing out a little bit there. But on to prediction number 4. People are relocating to Columbus, Ohio. I don't know. I don't know what's in Columbus, Ohio. If anybody's out there that knows anything about Columbus, please let me know. What this article is basically talking about is that the house prices are low, and in an environment where people are working from home, they're going to want to work in places that are more affordable. You know, I don't know who's moving to Columbus, but if you're out there looking at Pennsylvania, they're moving out of the Sun Belt. I don't know who doesn't want sun. I know people that don't want 120-degree heat, but
that's so temporary.
That's so so it's somewhat bearable for 3 months, and then you get back to normal temperatures. Like right now is awesome. No, if you're not in Arizona right now, you're insane. If you're on the East Coast, because they're getting beat up by the weather.
I was interested. Wait, hold on, go back up. Real quick. Right here. 400. So in Phoenix, so we always say like the average in Arizona is like 56,000 for the medium home price. Yeah. In Phoenix, that would be the Valley is 416, which just blows my mind. Yeah, like blows my mind right now. Because you could go to Columbus, Ohio. That's where my mom was born and came from, and I've been there. And
how's Morristown doing?
It's actually doing really good.
If you don't know Ashley, then you don't know that Morristown she has an affinity towards Morristown. Really if you want to drop a purple heart for Morristown, go and do that now.
It's my friend Daniel, who's like literally my best friend on earth. Well, I have 2, Robbie Matella and Daniel Bogie. But he bought some like land out in the area, and we were chatting about it, and it's just like it's steadily increasing. Like I'm super, super jealous because he's one of those people, and I love you, Daniel, and if you watch this, which he doesn't because he's not on social media, but when he was telling me about investments he was making, I'm like, you're batshit crazy. Come to find out, I should have been listening to him.
Oh, shit. We're going to buzz right through the rest of these because we're at the end of the half hour, miss. It goes by that fast. Hour? People will move, people will move because of their politics. I kind of see that. I mean, the one thing I know about politics is that the Democratic areas tend to have better food. More conservative areas tend to have more of the like the
Ew, that's a weird.
Like the franchise food, like, I don't know. Does anybody else know that? Because like if you come to Arizona, compared to Chicago, for instance, Arizona has a lot of franchise food, like Cane's, like Church's, McDonald's. It's all franchised. But if you go to like a Chicago, it's always like some sort of mom and pop kind of stuff. There's very few franchises that I see there. It's amazing. So
this is a horrible analogy right here. For example, 1 in 7 recently moved survey would refuse to live in a place where abortion is fully legal.
I don't know.
Like, how does that even play into the housing market?
I don't know. This is Reddit.
This is strange.
Number 6, real quick. Condo demand will take off. I believe so because people want to be more inner city. People want to be more interactive. They don't necessarily. They'll get tired of living out in the outskirts and having nothing to do, and they will kind of want to re-engage with the city life.
One thing about the less maintenance. So if you live in a condo,
and less maintenance,
you don't have all of the maintenance of like a pool, and I mean, there's so much that is involved with owning a home. I've realized that.
So, and the article will kind of identify townhouses and condos. Yeah. Townhouses, or I should say, condos qualify for different loan programs than townhouses. Like for a condo, you typically can't find a condo that will qualify FHA. There's very few out there. So there's so few out there that you could just pretty much blanket statement that there's no condos that will go FHA. Right. There are a few, but not a whole lot.
The rules,
and there's ways to find out information.
Spicy.
Number 7, home buyers will take climate risks seriously. I believe so too. I mean, you don't want to necessarily be in Tornado Alley as there's more and more tornadoes year over year, hurricanes, the same thing, all that snow, all the weather. People want more sustainable, more predictable weather.
Well, that's why we call people snowbirds.
Yeah, because they come here.
Because they always come here.
They don't want to be here in the heat, but they want to be here when it's nice. Housing policy becomes central to political battles and about climate change. iBuyers, going back to your iBuyers, miss.
Yes.
And then the DOJ, that's more applicable to us as agents.
Yeah, what we were talking about. So the iBuyer one, I actually liked that because that goes back to kind of what we were talking about with Zillow, how Zillow really tried to hone in on the market.
I think take advantage.
Okay, I'm going to be respectful. Actually, okay, so they took advantage of us. And now what's happening? Now they're going to release all these homes. So now the iBuyers, if you read this correctly, they're going to find their niche or niche. Call it what you want. Gold jacket, green jacket, orange, tomato, potato. Let's call the whole thing off.
I don't know if I followed that.
But they are starting to create their niche and what that fits their needs because they came in, they bought hot, and all this is being released. So there might be, and that's what I was saying earlier, an opportunity where these iBuyers are coming in, they bought from hedge funds or they bought from individual buyers where they're going to start create other programs. And when I say other programs, meaning they might start creating, seller carrybacks. Lease to own,
they'll be more advantageous to sellers, not so much buyers. I mean, there's so many other industry changes that are coming down the pipe that I can't anticipate. I have been thinking about for the last couple of years, and so obviously I have to make some changes to my business structure and what I'm doing. But at the end of the day, I try to provide information, and the value I have is that sense of trust. I'm going to provide you the information where I feel it's going to benefit you and not necessarily me. And to my detriment, I will spend 9 months with somebody in the hopes that we finally get them home. And guess what? We got one.
And that is the giver's gain mentality, and the attitude of gratitude is what you serve every day. Yeah. And that's why you are blessed to be doing what you do.
And thank you, Miss. So we've come basically to the end of the show today. So if you have any comments or questions, go ahead and drop those in. We'll get to them next week. But I want to thank you, Miss Miller, for being such a lovely treat to our Monday Market 15 here. As always. If there's any lenders that want to join us next week, we need lending help. We need lending support. I do know a couple, and hopefully they'll join us. If not, then we're reaching out. But anyway, Miss Miller, thank you so much. See you guys.
And hold on. Have an amazing Thanksgiving and a holiday week. It's going to be incredible. Family, gratitude, blessings, just appreciate every single one of them.
I guess I'll start my outro again. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Happy Thanksgiving. Hopefully you get to eat as much turkey as possible, that inflation and supply chain issues don't disrupt your gobbler, your potatoes, your whatever else you're eating out there. But happy holidays, Miss.
Thank you.
And we'll see you next week. Adios.